Okay guys, well we're going to start to try to take the engine out, and the first step, basically this engine is held on in a couple of ways. There's only two ways. There's got a big shaft that goes through here right at the foot peg, okay? And then there's also a bracket right here at the front that is bolted to the engine and bolted to the frame, which is actually very easy, looks, well, I haven't done it yet, but looks relatively easily accessible and easy to get off. We will see. The other thing, there's a rubber boot here on the carburetor. I'm actually planning to take the carburetor off on the bench, and this rubber boot is really on there tight, but I'm hopeful once I get this bracket off, the whole thing will tip forward and I'll be able to get that rubber boot off easier. It is, 1974 rubber, and it's not very pliable anymore. And I don't really want to ruin it, because I don't really want to have to, order one from Ukraine or the Czech Republic or Slovakia at this point, although I will if I have to. So we're going to try to save it. We'll just move the engine forward, and hopefully it will come out. So I've already begun to loosen this off. I've actually got a wrench on the other side to take this off. And again, it's the same bolt that's holding the foot pegs on, so it's really easy to figure out where this thing is. And yeah, so that's one bit of it. And we only need to take one side off, I'm guessing. We'll find out. I may actually have to remove the other exhaust, weirdly enough, to get at the bolts, because it's got to go through, and I think it goes right into the exhaust. That's a little unfortunate. Poor design, but what do you expect, right, from a 1974 JAWA motorcycle, So don't get me wrong, I'm not putting her down, but I'm just going to have to probably do that. We're going to find out. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to have to unfortunately remove at least half of the exhaust here. I mean, obviously I've got it already disconnected from the, well, actually I guess I'm going to have to take the whole thing off. I've already obviously got it disconnected from the engine anyway, so I guess it's not a big deal. Really, there's only one bolt and a couple of nuts holding this thing on. There's a bolt here and a couple of nuts over here that hold this thing on. But here's the issue, right? I mean, there's the the shaft of the bolt that needs to come out that's holding the engine in, and you'll notice it is about the equivalent of about a quarter of an inch out of alignment with the exhaust, or you can just pull it right out. But yeah. Clearly no computer-aided design that put this thing together, so that's okay. We'll just carry on. We'll just go with it and take this side of the exhaust off as well. Okay, so we're going to take this thing off now. Interestingly, just to make a number of trips back to the toolbox, this is not, a 12 millimeter nut that you'd expect. This is, of course, Russian issue 13 millimeter. Don't know why, but whatever. We're just rolling with it here. So get this one off of here, and we may fast forward through this a little bit on the video, just to kind of so you don't have to watch me, doing some obvious stuff. But oh, am I going to have to get another wrench? Oh, I think I don't get another wrench for this. Okay, well, case we're on, we'll grab another wrench into the toolbox for another 13 mil. Let's hope it's the same on both sides. Is it the same on both sides? Let's find out. Guess I could have done that before I went away, but okay, here we go. Yep, they're the same. Okay. That reversed. I know it looks like I'm taking off the foot peg, but trust me, there's a hanger here for the muffler, and that's what we're actually taking off here. So actually pretty close. Yeah, I think this would have that one. Okay. Probably take those foot pegs off anyways at some point and clean them up. I've actually tried to, but there's some bizarre type of mud on here, it just will not come off. It makes me wonder if the thing was in the caribou or something, because I know that I've experienced that before, but only with mud around the 100-mile area where you get that mud on stuff, and for whatever reason, whatever it is, it does not want to come out of stuff. I remember going out dirt biking one day with my best buddy. He's unfortunately no longer with us. And getting really muddy, having a heck of a lot of good fun. Oh, no problem, you throw that stuff in the washing machine. You don't have to throw those clothes out. That's how ridiculous that mud is. That stuff just will not come out. It was bizarre stuff, but anyways, it's what looks like is on this bike. So that's closer to cement than mud, I think. But and of course, it's been on here for God knows how long. This bike sat for at least 20 years, as to my understanding, and probably 30 years or more. Whoever had it, I don't know, man. They really did like everything on the thing. Nothing on the thing works. Not even the brake light switch. Nothing. Regulator was broken. Everything was broken. Whatever it could be that was broken, it was broken on this thing. So, not to complain, but let's see how successful we are here. Should just come off of there, man. Come on. Come on, baby. Isn't there two of them there? What's going on? Must just be hung up on the threads. Ah, there we go. Just needed to pull a little harder. Okay. So there we got it. Yeah, one exhaust off. And so now we can get at our bolt. Look at that. So actually, we don't even have to get at it. We can just actually punch it out from the other side. So I'll get a punch and carefully punch it out here. Hopefully it comes fairly easy. I guess we're going to find out. You know, maybe, yeah, I'll just pause it there, grab some tools, and I'll let you guys watch from this side, and you can let me know if it's coming out or not. How's that? Okay, guys, we're gonna get after it here and see if we can punch this this shaft out. We have the foot peg on the right side removed, and the nut, of course, on the shaft removed here. We are going to try to punch that that shaft that is holding the back side of the engine out this way. And actually, as I say that, I'm noticing that I was actually wrong about this. There is one additional engine mounting bolt right here that's obviously going through as well. So, okay, I was wrong about that. There's three connection spots down here, up here, and of course at the front of the engine. So anyways, what I'm going to do is, if you guys can watch this side for me here and make sure that that's getting punched out, that would be great. So let's give it a shot. Got the punch, got a hammer, and that's what I'm using on the other side. So yeah, pretty obvious. Let's give her a shot. When doing something like this, kind of obvious, you got to be really careful not to mess up the thread. So don't just, if the bolt's exposed, don't whack the whole thing with a hammer. It's better to use a punch and hit the center of the bolt and stay well away from the threads. Don't ask me how I know. Okay, well, it feels like it's really loose. Let's see what happens here. Have we done something? We have done something. Look at that. It came out. Okay, so hey, thanks for your little bit of help watching that for me. Okay, so as I mentioned, obviously I got to take this off too. So that's gonna be our next thing. What size do you figure that is? It's bigger than 13. Well, we'll have to figure that out. Okay, so now we're going to go and take off this attachment point to the engine right here. And again, I'm assuming again that this is a rod going straight through the frame here. So it's got the same two nuts on the other side as well. So we're just going to take this side off. That's going to be the plan, and then we're just going to punch it through. Could do this from either side, but what the heck? We're here. Let's do it. Let's give this a shot. So let's see how tight that is. Okay, so here's the first one. I may have to get a wrench to hold the other side, but I'm hoping not. We'll find out pretty quick here. So, turning it. Oh, I'm not. Good. Nice. Nice. So the value of stuff being this old is that it's obviously stuck in there a little bit, but that's okay. That's working for me. That way I don't have to get another wrench out. So now, same process. We're going to grab a punch and we're going to carefully punch this out the other direction. So, just grab the punch and the hammer here. So. And again, I mentioned it before, but you know, you don't want to just do this. I mean, I guess you could get a rubber hammer or a wooden hammer, and that would potentially do it. And actually, maybe that's a good idea. I'm gonna grab a rubber hammer here and just initially give it a whack with that. But what you don't want to do really is whack it here, mess up the threads, and then when you try putting it back together again, you gotta, you know, chase the threads or do something else to fix it. What I was doing on the other side, on a bigger bolt, it's hitting the center here. This one's a little smaller, a little harder to be accurate. So we'll try the rubber hammer. All right, the rubber. Oh yeah, it's going a little bit, but you know what? Not good enough for me. We're gonna go back to this method and just be careful. So again, dead center. How are we doing on that side? Got the rotor sitting over here, hanging by some cables. I want to make sure I don't whack it. Kind of looks like we're okay there. So, where are we here? Oh yeah, in here. Okay, so let's go take a look on the other side and see what that looks like. Apologies for the shaky camera work, but it is what it is. So you can see what I mean about the stator there, eh? Yeah, so this is what I was looking at here. I've just got this hanging by some telephone wire, and oh gee whiz, that is still on there pretty darn good. Huh, interesting. I don't know if I have a punch that's longer than that. Try not to pull the bike over as I'm doing this. Okay, I'll pay that. You're hitting that cable. That would be bad, wouldn't it? She's a little tight, as you can see, but you know what? We're going to get it. I'm sure there's a far better way to do this, but what I could do is get a wrench on it. Well, I don't really care. Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, we got her now. Come on out. We know you want to come. It's the weight of the engine at the back end there that's holding this. I probably, you know what? My recommendation, if you're doing this at home, if you're doing this, anybody's even watching this video, I would probably do the bottom one first. Let's just see if we can. Yeah, I'm just gonna push up on the engine a bit. Oh, and look at that. That was the secret. Probably should have done that right away. Okay, good. So we got that out of there. Now we just have one more attachment place left, and as I mentioned before, that is right here at the front of the engine. There are 4 bolts here. There's 2 bolts two bolts that go through the engine holding it on here. I think we're actually going to have to take off all of that to get it to go. These are actually welded on here, and then it's just this bracket that essentially needs to come off. But we're going to take that whole thing off the engine, and I think that'll make getting the engine out a lot easier. Well, in fact, I think it has to happen, or the engine's not coming out. So that'll be the next thing. Okay, now we're going to start taking off the last bracket here. So we're going to start off rightly or wrongly with the engine side, you know, I've been thinking about it, and I think if I was to do this over again, I think I would probably go and at least loosen this off first. I have a feeling maybe we're going to get some binding happening, but you know, whatever. This is a learning process for me too. So we're just going to go for it here. Oh, we're turning on the other side. That's always unfortunate. Let's sort of kind of my arm is in the way, but needs must. You kind of see what the heck I'm up to here. So maybe there's a better filming position, but hey, sirrah, right? So it's not gonna work. Try this side. Oh, hang on. No, I actually did have that correctly. Don't mind me as I learn how to use my tools. Okay. All right, well, that was coming off nice. Oh yeah, it's nice and easy. Beautiful. Okay, great. I guess that's because the other one's on there and holding it, so that's all nice and good. So, okay, there's one. Let's work on this one. Let's work on the bottom one on the engine side here. I think I'm gonna have to take these brackets right off, and there's just four more nuts and bolts to take off there, so not a huge heavy lift. So kind of hard to do this in a delicate way. Let's see. Oh, it's coming out nice. Good. Let me get some binding on this one because there's probably some weight on it. Do we take the weight off now or not? Maybe we'll take these. Maybe we'll loosen these off first because we can always punch that out if we need to. What do we got going here? Okay, one. One of the things I'm doing just as I'm working away on what is probably quite obvious, you know, and this is what I'm about to say is probably very obvious too, but you know, I don't know about you guys, but my memory's not that great. It's kind of okay for some things, but little small stuff like this that's relatively, you know, whatever. It's the type of stuff you kind of naturally just forget about. And so what I do is I take, as I'm going through this, I'm not putting it on the video or anything like that because it's just too painful to watch, but I've got some little, you know, cheap Ziploc bags that I put this stuff in. I'm going to do that one from the other side. And label them as I go. And that way it makes putting stuff back together again a whole lot easier. You still wind up, you know, sometimes having to, you know, hunt for stuff, but it makes it a lot easier. If you just throw everything all together in a bag or something, you inevitably, you know, are getting stuff mixed up or using the wrong bits in the wrong places. Obviously, little nuts and bolts like this are not critical. We can just make a habit of doing it with everything, regardless what it is. Life is just easier, and that's what it's about, right? Let's make life easy. So. Life can be hard. That little method can make life a lot easier. So again, very obvious. I'm sure pretty much everybody does that, but you know, just what I do. That one seems to be. Oh no, that was a user error on my part. Okay, we're down to the last couple here. I'm probably going to fast forward through a bunch of this stuff or cut it out or whatever because, again, it's too painful to watch this whole exercise, admittedly. Not very interesting or exciting and quite obvious. So. I'm gonna get lucky on this, so I don't have to hold it with a wrench. It kind of looks like maybe, eh? So we'll see. Okay, and there's some tension on that, understandably, because we got the weight of the engine on it. We're going to pick all that stuff up later. Okay, now we need to, I think, pry the engine up a little bit with something to, you know, to get that last bolt out of there. We'll see. So, what have I got here? Yeah, just give her a little pry here. Push it out. Alright, and there's one. Put that to that side and I'll label it for that side. All again obvious stuff, but it's just what I do to hedge against my own stupidity. There we go. Okay, perfect. And I believe that engine is loose. Huh, interesting. So, I don't know how heavy this thing is. Seems pretty heavy. Yeah, she's pretty heavy, as you could expect. So I'm going to have to find some way of getting that out of there. I might even have to get somebody to give me a hand. We're going to find out. So, anyways, that's it for this one. Okay, so now we're going to actually take the chain off. And you know what? With hindsight, I should have done that first. I was so excited getting the rotor off that I started quickly working towards the motor mounts, and of course I forgot to take the chain off. Now to take the chain off, you first need to take off the clutch release mechanism, which is right here. So that's what we're gonna do. I did also, I didn't film this, but there are a couple of brackets here holding these rubber boots on the chain guard. The chain on this bike is encompassed in these rubber guards, and so you gotta loosen these off. Just used a flathead screwdriver to do that. Nothing remarkable there, so I'm gonna take this off. So part of the issue now that I did it in this order is that chain might be pretty tight. And if it is, then we're gonna just have to prop the engine up a little bit more. I don't anticipate that to be a huge deal, but you know what? We'll find out, I guess. So, washer with it or not? Oh, there is. Just hiding. Okay. Okay, there is our clutch release mechanism right there. Very exciting. So that comes off. Now I believe this comes off. It's like a plastic housing or something. A metal housing. It's a metal housing. Not really too sure how that comes off of there. I think it's a two-piece unit. Yeah, there is. I guess it comes off like that. Okay, great. So we got that off. Okay, so now the way I've seen other people do it is to just take this sprocket off. Rather than splitting the chain, and I actually think that's a really good idea. So what I'm going to do now, this chain has actually got a little bent over tab here, so I'm going to grab the hammer and a bigger screwdriver, because this one's kind of thin, and we're going to pound this back, and then we'll find something to take that big nut off, and hopefully just pull that sprocket off. That's going to be the initial plan anyways. Alrighty, let's give this a shot. So there's actually two tabs that need to be pounded down. And there's one. Give that a little bit more of a hit. Yeah, okay, that's two. Good. We got those two down. Now to find something to remove that with. Okay, well I had to do a little bit of hunting for the right tool to get the sprocket nut off. It turns out it's 32 millimeters. One of the challenges with this JAWA is it's really hard to find information. I've got the owner's manual, which is actually almost a workshop manual, which is really great. It's actually a really good little manual, but there's so little information. Dumb things like knowing the size of this, I just couldn't figure it out. But well, I shouldn't say I couldn't figure it out. I did figure it out, but I had to go buy a socket because I didn't have, got everything but, of course, didn't have 32 millimeters, and because it was such a thin nut, I had to use a socket, and because of course just turning it slowly turns the engine over. I actually used my relatively small little impact gun, right? I could have gone and got my air tool. That would have been the next step if need be, but just this old Makita impact did the job. So yeah, so that's what I did. Didn't film taking the nut off. Well, it's kind of obvious what I did. And now what we're going to do is just try to pull this off with the chain. So that's going to be, oh, look at that. Look at that. And then we can just, yeah, we'll just take the sprocket out of there. Okay, there's the sprocket, and there's the little piece of metal that you use for holding the tabs down with the nut. So take those off, let the chain just dangle there. And now, I believe that engine's completely free. So we'll see what happens. So that's going to be the next step, is actually to lift it out. May not film that. Well, I'll film it, but yeah, may not show people because it may be a bit of an ugly process for me to get this out of here, but that's going to be the next step. Okay, well, inevitably there's always one more thing, and the neutral switch. This little wire here going into, oh, actually it's going right to here, but here's the wire. Going right to here needs to come off. That little wire's got to come off or we're not getting this thing out. So I've got a tiny little screwdriver here. It's really, really small. So hopefully this isn't tight. Oh, it's not tight. Good, look at that. Well, not ridiculously tight. And there it is. Okay, neutral wire has been removed. Look at that, perfect. Okay, great. So, all right, well, next step is to try to lift her out. So, I'm gonna try to lift it out the other side here. So, I'll see what happens. I've just connected the spark plug wires, of course, at the top of the engine, and I've taken that little rubber boot off the carburetor that I mentioned before. So, what is holding us back here? I don't know. This is where a second set of hands would be really useful. Maybe this way is better. Yeah, she's pretty heavy. She's pretty heavy. She's pretty heavy. Just gonna move a little something out of the way here. Okay, guys. Well, here goes nothing. Get that spark plug wire out of the way. Is anything else holding us back? No, we'll get that off. Yeah, no, as far as I can tell, I think we're golden. Let's give her a shot. Let's give her a go. Come on, let's hold this back here. Okay, well. Oh, you know what's holding us back? There's one more thing. You guys could probably see it and I couldn't. You know what that is? Throttle cable. Not throttle cable, what the heck am I talking about? Speedometer cable. Yeah, speedometer cable's got to come off. Alrighty, okay, well, hey. Well, you're seeing this as I'm doing it, so you can, this is what's great about these videos. Please feel free to laugh at me. Leave comments below. Thanks, guys. We'll see if we can remove this thing. Okay, guys. Well, I'm looking to take that speedometer cable off, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'll just unscrew it from the bottom. Well, guess what? Guess what? Yeah, this is great engineering. Don't know if you can see that. That thing doesn't come off, man. The way that you have to do it, like, you have to split the case to put the speedometer cable on. That's really not very good engineering. So I think what I'm going to have to do is actually take the speedometer cable off. Up at the speedometer. Believe it or not. That just doesn't seem very smart. Anyways, yeah, I think I may wind up leaving this for tomorrow. I got to go out for dinner now, so and I'm pushing it. I got about 20 minutes to get cleaned up. So yeah, interesting. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that a little bit. Well, I think actually the bike looks kind of good with the engine off to the side like that. It looks a bit like a BMW. Maybe we'll just leave it. Anyways, guys, hope you're having a good day. We'll talk to you later. Hey guys, we're back out here in the garage. So took the speedometer cable off, and as it turns out, it was just a screw in the bottom of the engine that's holding the speedometer cable on. So no big deal. So now we're gonna actually try to lift the engine out. It's pretty heavy, so we're gonna try to lift her out so that we can get her on a bench. I think initially I'm just gonna drop it on the floor here. Well, hopefully not drop it, even set it nice and gently on the floor. That's gonna be the goal. That's gonna be the dream. So we'll see what happens here. Get a good hold of it. Yeah, she's really heavy. She is quite heavy. I'm sure or not. Alrighty, we got her out. Hey, there you go. I'm gonna throw her on the bench. Oh. Alrighty. Nothing to it. Okay, so here, let me show you. Okay guys, we're gonna drain the oil out of this thing. So there's a drain plug down here. I've got an oil container here set just on a chair underneath it, which hopefully doesn't splash too much. I hope not. Got a trusty piece of hockey stick, which I'm going to put underneath the engine to try to get it tipped up to where it's actually a little bit more level than it is sitting now. But let's just give her a go here and get this off. So, yeah, should be pretty decent oil in here because I did change it before I got the engine running really well and everything else, and found out that fourth gear didn't work. So yeah, nothing coming out, and that's just simply because she's at the wrong angle at the moment. So we're going to tip her up, and well, we have to actually kind of hold it here. I'm surprised there's not more oil coming out of it than this. Why would that be? You know what I bet you we need to do? I bet you we need to open the top here. The old story, eh? It's you need to get a bit of air in that thing for it to want to drain. So it is quite cold out here today too, so things are going to be a bit thick, but we'll take that off. Let's see if she comes a bit better now. I know there's oil in it. Okay. Well, this is going to take a little bit of time for this thing to drain, so I need to prop this up and leave it. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you guys back. You don't need to watch me draining oil out of this thing. I just thought I'd show you the process, but I'll bring you back once we get that bit done.